Hello, guys. Don't stop now. I was writing an email for you, and then I realized that I had something that I really needed to say to you guys today, right now. So I'm coming to find you. How is everybody doing? Here in Sarasota, everything's starting to open up today, which is pretty exciting and pretty cool. My hair salon opened today. I'm very excited about this. Okay, let me see if I can freaking do this right this time. Share too. I keep not doing. Yeah, so the hair salon opened today. The restaurants are open here now. And yeah, it's starting a little bit. I have plans with a friend to go out to dinner on Thursday. So I'm kind of excited because it feels like, okay, here, I'm doing it right now. It feels like life is just starting to take off and open back up. I don't know what it's like for you guys. Tell me where you're at and what's going on there. Like, are things open? Are you going out? Do you feel like you've been a hermit for freaking 6 months? Because that's how it, I mean, for what, 6 months, 6 weeks, that's how it feels here. Okay, don't start a watch party. Hold on one second. So I did it wrong last time. So now I just need to do it right this time. Okay, I see where they moved all the buttons on the Daily Raw post. Okay, now it's shared. Okay, hello. I know it's a strange time for me to hop on, but it is what it is. So here's the deal. I posted a typo in this. So many people who come to me, like unanimously, most of the people, hold on, I'm just fixing this typo because it's driving me nuts. Normally I don't care about typos, but this time I did. Okay, so many people who come to me are feeling like they need to figure it out. And really, I remember going through waves of this a little bit, yeah? Like when you first start running a company online or doing a business, or it doesn't matter, whatever area of life. So whether it's like I'm trying to be a better mom, or I'm trying to figure out how to have a more romantic relationship, or I'm trying to figure out how to date in a way that feels exciting and fun, and I like the results that I'm getting, or if it's losing weight or having, you know, your body look the way you want. Or for me, it was like my skin, or making money online, or getting a client flow that you like, or having programs that you feel like you are really excited about, or all of these kind of things. There's a really frustrating feeling of trying to figure it out. And then the worst part about trying to figure it out is most people are saying different things. In every single one of those areas, people are saying different things and telling us different things that we're supposed to do in order to figure the said thing out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Tell me if you hear what I'm saying. Say hi to me. Who's here? I see all these people on, but I'm not seeing. Maybe the comments are coming. Maybe they're not on my phone. Let me go check. Okay. So unanimously as human beings, we're having this experience of feeling like we have to figure everything out. I have to figure it out, and I have to be disciplined enough to figure it out and then do it. And then I basically have to be perfect in order to get what I want, only I know I'll never be able to be perfect, so it feels kind of like I never get to get what I want. And then we get in the habit of never looking at what we want because it's painful to look at what we want, because when we look at what we want, we know we have to be perfect and we can't be perfect. And so then we keep trying to figure it out, and then we do a whole bunch of things to make us feel like we're busy and moving forward so that it feels like we're showing up in life, because what else are we going to do, right? So here's what I'm watching happen. Yeah? What I'm watching happen is this energy of trying to figure it out, kicking people's butts so bad. And I was trying to think of, hi, Victoria. Okay, yeah, the comments are coming through now. So I'm trying to figure out, I was asking myself, which is a common thing I'll ask myself, like, okay, what is the one thing that people need to hear or understand? Like, if I've said it 100 different ways, but there's still people who are believing that figuring it out is the way to have success online, or figuring it out is the way to find happiness in your life, or figuring it out is the way to finally like exhale and have the money that you want coming in and have the successful company that you want, just figuring it out. And there's still like, I sense it with y'all, right? Hi, Caitlin. I'm sensing it with you guys. It's still like, no, it still kind of feels like I'm supposed to figure it out. And it's almost like all these people ahead of me are telling me it's really not about the how. It's really not about the how. That's so easy, right? If any question that you have, like the digital revolution is all the how to build your business online. It's so basic, so simple, like this is how you build it online. And moving forward in all of my programs, like the upcoming program, The Unresisted Life, we're giving away bonuses on how to do everything because the how is so not the point. But I still can sense that people like, they're still in the energy of trying to figure it out. All the areas of your life. How do I be in the best shape? How do I be in a good mood? How do I be in a high vibe? How do I manifest? How do I do this social media thing? How do I have powerful stuff to say? How do I make programs that sell? How do I write my copy? How do I write the blog? How do I talk on a Facebook Live? How do I blah, blah, blah? And it's like this, okay, I have all this stuff to figure out in my life. And then there's personal stuff. And then there's romantic stuff. And then there's love stuff. And there's all these things. And these really incredible, powerful human beings who have so much to offer the planet are getting stuck in this mud trap of figuring. My alarm went off and I had to shut it off, or it would keep going off every 10 minutes. You guys know how it does that, right? Tell me if you guys have that feeling. In what area of your life are you feeling that, right? Just freaking say the thing, right? Like yes, I feel that I put pressure on myself to figure it out in what area. You might not have even noticed that you were doing that to yourself. You might have just been putting pressure on yourself to like, how is that happening? Or how does that person do that? Or how does that person act like that? Or how does that person speak like that? Or whatever the thing is, or, how does that mom do that kind of thing? Whatever, there's usually probably judgment of yourself around that area, something you beat yourself up about because you have a high standard for yourself, which isn't bad, right? But there's this feeling of having to figure it out. And so I was asking myself like, man, I feel like I've said it every way there is to say, but that's sort of like what I pride myself in. Yeah, well, I guess I do. Or what I challenge myself to do is to be able to, every human being that has something I watch happening, to be able to find the words, to be able to share with that human being, for them to have that moment of like, oh my God, I actually really get it, right? Figure out my niche. Yep, that's another one. Niche, right? So even though I'm working my business out, figuring it out without figuring it out. Yes, that's good. Good for you. Okay. So here's the deal. In my life, I've had some of the most rapid success that I've ever seen with any human being, barring like other people who got a shout out from someone famous or something like that. And even then I had faster success, right? Just not that big. Theirs was fast success, but it was kind of, it was a lot bigger, obviously a bigger scale. But I've had some of the fastest success that I've ever seen in this industry. And so I have not ever spent a lot of time in the figuring it out feeling. Some places I do. And those places I have struggled. And every single time I got stuck in the try to figure it out energy, I wasted so much time and money. So much of my energy and so much money. And literally one time I had a coach. My coach was Kat. And she freaking said to me, then go try to figure it out. And when you're done and you're on the other side of that, hopefully you'll see that you never needed to do any of that. And that's exactly what happened. So it's not like I've never done it, but I've spent very little time there. And so I thought about, well, what did I do, right? So if my success is recreatable, which I'm 100% sure it is, my job is to support my clients or my potential clients in being able to see it clearly so that they can replicate it, because success leaves clues, right? So what I realized was I spend very, very, very little amount of time in the energy of trying to figure it out. And I spend most, or if not all, of my resources and my time and my energy on building my courage. So I thought back, like I was talking to my son the other day and I was thinking, this started a long time ago. That muscle building of the courage that it takes to do what we do here in this field, you know what I'm talking about. Right? It feels very, very different. It's two different ways of doing life. And that's why I built the Unresisted Life program, right? It's literally getting off of the treadmill of, okay, I'm not that good at this, so I'm going to try to figure it out, and I'm going to do all these things, I'm going to figure it out, and then I'm going to go do it, and I'm going to try this and try this and try this and try this, and like, oh, a breakthrough, finally, woohoo, I'm celebrating, I'm going big, I got a client, or I did the sales page, or I did the thing, or I figured the system out, all right, now I got to figure out this next thing, and there's 76 other areas, but okay, let me just try to focus on this one thing, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting burnout, because it's not going at the speed I want it to, and so I'm going to try to discipline myself even harder, and then you get even more beat up on yourself, and then you're like, this isn't sustainable, so then you start to feel demotivated, and it's like this whole big cycle that I never really spent very much time in at all, right? And this is what I did instead. And I was talking to my son and I was like, he didn't know. He didn't know like what my journey was or what I did. But it started when I was, I went to the Marine Corps and I got out and I got pregnant right away. And then I worked 2 jobs. So I was working as a waitress and I was working at a hotel and like at a banquet service in a hotel. And then one day my son, he was about 5 years old, and he said to me, he started crying. He was like, Mom, like I never see you. You work so much. And, obviously he didn't say full sentences like that, but he was expressing to me that I work so much and I'm always gone and he missed me. And that was it. It's like something inside of me just switched, and I just was like, okay, I have to figure out how to take him and work from home. But what I didn't do was sit there and plan everything and do research and everything. I literally gave my 2 weeks notice that night. That night I went to work and I gave my 2 weeks notice at both places. And I saved every friggin' penny for the next 2 weeks. I didn't spend a single penny on anything. I saved every single thing. And then I had that little tiny pocket of money and I thought, this is gonna last me 3 weeks. You had 3 weeks to find a job where I could take Calvin with me. So I started looking at, daycare centers and all these other places, and it was like, yeah, you get paid $400 a week, but you pay $400 a week to bring your kid here. And it was like, what the hell? It's like, these are for like at-home moms whose husbands pay all the bills, and like now we don't have to pay for daycare. It was like that kind of thing. And I enjoy just hanging out with my kid all day. Not my jam. Just so not my thing, right? So I got a little bit nervous, but I was so committed, right? Do you see, like, that's different than trying to figure it out energy. Even though I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. How I went about doing it was completely different. And then I got my first nanny job for this guy who thought it was hot, even though I had no background experience in nannying, and I got paid like $400 a week, took my son with me. It was an hour drive, whatever. But then, the boy had, he was on the spectrum. So then the next nanny job I got was $500 a week for a family that I loved working for, and I loved their kids. And then I had now I had some credibility as a nanny, and I sort of built that, and then I transitioned. Once I started working for a nanny, I started going to school. So when I first went to school, I went to school at a community college because I thought I was stupid, because everyone told me I was a stupid blonde and I was basically only good for my boobs. And I went to a community college and I was like, oh, I just had the courage to go. I didn't know what it was going to turn into. I certainly did not think that I was going to end up at a university in neuropsychology, right? But I went to CCRI and then I started building my courage and my bravery. Like, maybe I'm not dumb. I started getting decent grades. Maybe I'm not the stupid blonde everyone said I am. Like, this stuff kind of comes easy to me. And well, okay, what would it look like if I took the next step? And then I joined a program, and it was, physical therapy assistant. Then I learned you only make $13 an hour. You can never make more than that. And I said, screw that. So then I went to Rhode Island College, and I was like, imagine if I got into a state college. Like, imagine me at a college, like a state college, like a college girl. Now, mind you, I was in my 30s and I was like the oldest person on the campus, but I didn't give a shit. I was building my courage muscle. And so I went there, and then I got in and I couldn't believe it. And then I started going to school there and I learned the campus. And then I went into the nursing program, which was like only 100 people out of thousands of people that they picked, and they picked me. And I got in, and then I was top of my nursing class. And I was like, holy shit, I really am smart. And I started to believe that I was smart. And everyone else was like, you just keep bouncing. You're doing this. You're doing that. You can't make up your mind. But what was really happening was I just kept looking for that next level of courage, the next level of bravery. And I felt myself getting stronger. I felt myself building my courage, right? So long story short, I left the nursing program, went to university. Now I'm at URI. I'm in a university. Holy shit, I'm in the neuropsych program. Like, this is amazing. And then I find out you live in a lab, basically, like your whole life is spent in a lab. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So I left college, like $40,000, 10 years of college, going part-time on the side while I worked and took care of my kids. I did that, and then I left without a degree. I don't even have an associate's degree. I literally walked away. I always thought maybe I'd finish, it's like 2 classes and I get my bachelor's degree, but I just actually miss going to school. But there's no point in doing that. Like, I don't do anything because someone says I have to, just because you should, right? I don't play that game. So I left that. I went to Health Coach Institute. Now at this point, I was looking to heal my eating disorder that I had had for 14 years at the time, right? So I had this horrible eating disorder. It almost killed me. And then I couldn't find resource for it. So I went to this Health Coach Institute because I had begun to heal it now for the first year. But I wanted to learn how to professionally sort of help people with their eating disorder and emotional eating, because I had watched it take out a lot of people in my family. So I went there, and then I started my business, and everybody and their mother told me I was freaking crazy. And I remember crying. I remember sitting in bed and I was crying because all my credibility got lost. Like, when I was in URI and I was in a neuro program, everybody gave me so much kudos, and it was like, whoa, you're so smart. And they treated me like I was important and like I was smart. And when I left, they treated me like I was an idiot again. And I remember just sitting in bed crying and tapping into something else, not pleasing them, not doing what society says so that I get the kudos, letting the kudos go, letting their, their faith in me go, letting their stories about me go, letting the expectations of what should happen in my life go, owning that, yes, I was the welfare girl with 2 baby daddies and I was on antidepressants, I drank way too much, and I still was just stepping, just one more step, and none of it was figuring out how to do this. I just kept letting myself be brave enough to go to that next level. And I did the same thing in my business. I went to HCI. Stacy and Carrie from HCI said, the one thing that you need to do is get a mentor. Like, if you do that, and I was like, okay, they just told me the one thing I should do is get a mentor. So I hired a mentor. I had no idea how I was going to pay for the mentor. I sat on my kitchen floor crying because the pressure for the next year, I was going to have to pay $2,000 a month when I had only made $4,000 ever in my company. It was the very beginning of my business. And I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. It was courage. I didn't think I have to figure it all out. And how do I do this? And how do I do that? I just kept trusting myself and having courage to get the support I needed, courage to have the experiences that I desired, courage to do the thing that I had that intuitive hit. And it was like, you're crazy. Everybody thought I was crazy. I thought I might be crazy. I thought, this is definitely it. This is how I take my family under. This is how I'm going to get to the place where I really can't ever feed them. And I did it anyway. And I have like such a long track record of courage and just relentless courage, bravery, courage, trusting myself, backing myself, doing the next thing, jumping off the cliff, having no clue how I was going to fly. And maybe I was going to smash on the ground, but you know what? That's better than living a life full of pausing, hesitating, playing small, listening to everybody else, caring what other people think, holding back my voice, not giving what I have to give, and not allowing myself to have what I desire. And so to come full circle, I realized all I was doing that whole time was allowing. I was allowing. It feels like courage. It feels like bravery. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, it feels like I'm having courage and I have to, and like, I'm being really brave and I'm like leaping off cliffs and I'm like, oh my God, right? Because if it's not scary, like scaring the shit out of you, if it's not scary that way, you're not growing, you're not changing. It's not going to change you if it doesn't scare the shit out of you. It should freak you out. When I sat on that kitchen floor bawling, I was like shaking. I remember my ex-husband at the time, I remember saying to him he definitely couldn't have paid that $2,000 a month, but I was trying to make it his problem because in the past I had like covered financial things for him, whatever. And so I was like, you owe me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like trying so hard to make it his problem because the pressure I thought was going to kill me. I thought like, I done did it. I hurt my family. And right. And like, I was tempted to go there, but what do? I'm on the floor and I'm crying. You cry it out. You feel the pressure on your shoulders, but guess what? The way that we get stronger is by holding the weight. You put weights on your shoulder. I was talking to one of my private clients today and I'm laughing. And, a lot of times my clients come to me and they're really distressed or they're upset. I teach them like, I'm coming in hot. It just means I'm a fucking mess right now, right? So they come to me and then like I start laughing about stuff because I'm like, oh yeah, I know what this is. Most of it's fake. It's all bullshit. And we clean it up and we get into a high vibe and we move along. But I was like, oh, you're in a squat right now. Basically, like you took 60 pounds, you put them on your shoulders, you did a full squat. And now you're like, I don't know if I can get back up. How do I get back up? I need to figure out how to get back up. And so what people do, instead of locking in their butt muscles and their quads and like actually just pushing against it, knowing that it's making them stronger, they start freaking out and thinking something's wrong. No, nothing's wrong. The whole point of having everything, if you want to build your dream life, it is about learning to handle the pressure. It's about stepping into the fear. It's about doing the crazy thing that everybody says is nuts and that feels completely reckless and you have no evidence that it's going to work whatsoever because that's how you grow. It's about trusting yourself enough to say, okay, I don't know how I'm going to figure that next step out, but I know that I'm going to take this step and the me on the other side of this step will then know how to figure that step out. I don't know how to figure it out yet, but I will when I get there. And no matter what happens moving forward, I felt an instinct to do this. I felt a prompting to do this. And that's what I've always done. I've always just backed my instinct like, yes, this feels like a hell yes. Like, oh my God, yes. Okay, that. I want that. Okay, I've had enough of this. Like, ooh, I don't want that. That doesn't feel good. That's not good enough. I left my marriage. I asked for a divorce. After moving across the country, after 14 years, I asked for a freaking divorce. And people were like, that's what you do. You start making money and you ask for a divorce or you move across the country and leave your family. Who does that? And I just completely dismissed that stuff. You know why? Do you know what I was locked into? He wasn't happy. He couldn't thrive with me. The way I showed up in life made him feel bad about himself. He wanted this like demure girl who cooks and like does all these things for him and like he's her focus. That was not the way I am, right? I'm more like tag team, go, slap you in the butt. Like that's my energy. I knew he was never going to be happy with me and I knew that I was not happy with him. And I was locked into my standard is everybody gets to be happy. I knew that. So the pressure or the things people were chatting about or what they said or what he said or what anybody said, I didn't care. I let it go off into the dust like gold pixie because it didn't matter. And that's what I've done consistently in my whole life. And the deepest message that I want people to understand is that feeling that you have to figure it out is a bullshit trap. It's not real. It's not a real thing. It's not real that I have to figure all of this out. And once I figure it all out and I'm disciplined enough, then I'll finally get to have the things I want. That is a never-ending trap that never goes away. It will never go away until you outgrow the pattern of letting yourself go to that place. So we call that like an emotional home base. Like, where do I return to over and over and over? So when tension hits, I'm under the squat, I got the weights, and it's time to push that up, and I don't know if I can push it up. Where do you go? What's the first thing that you do? Do you get really negative? Do you get really angry? Do you start freaking out and start researching everything? Do you start purchasing stuff and throwing money at stuff? What do you do? I would say my pattern is probably throwing money at stuff when the times that I've got stuck there and I've engaged in that, I would start throwing money at stuff with this story that like, I'm broken, something needs to get fixed. Something's wrong with me. I need to fix myself, because if I just fix myself, then everything else will fall into place. But like, I'm screwed up, so I need to throw money at stuff and like unscrew myself, whether it was healers or it was trainings or whatever it was, right? And the reason that I feel so passionate about holding space in the group coming up is because I don't know that I've experienced many things much more painful than the feeling that I'm inadequate. Oh, I just almost started crying. I don't know that there's much things in life more painful than feeling inadequate to be who you feel called to be for the people that you love. Whether that's your children or your husband or wife or your mom and dad, brothers, sisters, or your clients, your team. That feeling of just inadequacy. I can't figure it out. I can't do better. I'm not stronger. I'm not smarter. I'm not in better shape. I'm not a better example. I'm not more organized. and I need to figure these things out and I need to be better, and who I am is not enough is one of the most painful things that I think humans can experience. Because we love people so big and we just want to be better. We want to do better. We want to finally make the money so that we can finally relax and like ease up. And if I'm relaxed and I'm not chasing that money, then I'll finally be able to like be better. I'll be nicer and I'll be, on top of these things and I'll treat my clients better. And like all the things that we desire to be, we have a story in our head that if I could just make the money, if I could just figure this out, if I could just have more energy, if I could just be more disciplined, then I'll finally be able to be that person that I'll be proud of, or that I'll be able to be forever kind of a feeling, right? And like the things I get waves of with my clients is basically this never ending marathon that they put themselves in, like a never ending marathon of trying to be somewhere other than where they are, and therefore never being able to tap into their deepest power, which is courage and bravery to back the instincts that they get. So they never calm down enough to hear those instincts. And if they do hear those instincts, they're very vague. They get really excited and then those instincts fade away and they do a bunch of all this random stuff instead of doing that power move that they got an instinct for, but they didn't back because they didn't have the courage. So I guess the only thing that you would need to learn more than backing your courage is how to calm the hell down. Right? So that is definitely a part of this journey too. We calm the hell down, we hear the instincts, we back the instincts with courage, right? So what I did was I hired a mentor right away. And then after that mentor, he turned out to not be a very good person. And then after I left that one, I was nervous to hire another mentor because the level of things he did was really next level. Like I was just talking to a friend about it today. Like I think I'm still I'm still processing how screwed up what he did was. It was really bad. So I was nervous, but then I remember like I hired a woman, I hired someone who had kids, and then I went from that to like $10,000 a month investing in coaches. And that took me a couple months of temper tantrums. So the first investment was $2,000 a month. And I cried on the floor for a long time. And it took a while to calibrate to that. And then I slowly calibrated up to $6,000 a month and then up to $10,000 a month, investing in myself, having the courage to do the thing, to get the support for the things that I actually needed and what my soul was like hell yes to, well before I felt ready and there was any evidence that it would work out at all. Every single time I was like, you're crazy. This is bad. You're going to like, this is you, you're going too far now, Mandy. You're going too far, right? And so, of course, that was a story. And of course, I freaked out every time. But every time I was growing. This is why I say to my clients, growing feels like growing. Hi, Lisa. Growing feels like growing. It doesn't feel like complacency. It doesn't feel like comfy. But we accidentally mistake that feeling of nervousness of expanding to the next level for something bad is happening. Like when if nobody told you and you were going to the gym and you're lifting 30-pound weights doing bicep curls, right? Or if you're a girl, if you're a guy, it's probably a lot more, right? If you're lifting 30-pound weights and bicep curls and your muscles burning and nobody told you, you'd think something's wrong. Like when I was doing yoga, I would avoid sitting on my knees because it would hurt my knees. And one day the teacher told me like, that's because your knees are weak because you're babying them. Get on your knees, let the pain strengthen your knees. And I was like, huh? I started doing that and I was able to start running again, right? So we have the wrong associations to sensations that hold us back and send us in a pattern of figuring out, and doing, and try this and try this and try this and try this. And oh, finally, okay. That one thing happened. And then I'm gonna try this and I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this. When we could have just gone to a mentor, we could have just gone to someone who walked it through and had all that stuff handed to us very easily and then done the real work to create our bravery muscle, our confidence muscle, our ability to allow in the things that we desire. Like the real bold, brave things that take courage, that give us the life we really want. So I can't tell you how many friends, and I was scared at first. So when I shared publicly that I asked for a divorce, I had people coming to me and like asking me questions and all. I just shared from the truth. I didn't tell anyone what they should do because why would I ever? But I shared honestly, but I knew that was having an impact. And I was like, ooh, like this is impacting people. And like people are leaving their toxic relationships because I'm doing this. Like I led the way and now people are following suit. And it was like, is that okay? Like, and I kind of panicked for a second. And then I realized like, yeah, like if like everyone knows, you already know what you want. You know the relationship you want. You know the level of money you want. You know what you want your company to look like. You know the level of organization and money flow and, you know, creativity that you want in there. You know what you want. You know, it's just haven't built up the muscles of courage to do the brave things, to allow in what you really want. And we hold on to something that feels safe for now while we do a bunch of frantic energy around it to try to make it okay. And you never needed to do any of that shit. It would have been better for you to watch Netflix for 8 hours and learn how to do this. You would get more results for sitting on your ass and watch Netflix for 8 hours, but do this. I'm telling you. I know that's a ballsy thing to say. So the real work is for us to have enough courage to take the one next step that we feel called to, that scares the crap out of us, and that everything in us is going like, but I can't, but how will that work out? But what if it doesn't work? But I'm not ready for that yet. Exactly. That's the whole point. That's why you leap into that and you calibrate to it. How are you going to get ready? It's like when people say to me like, well, you know, I want to make more money, but I can't afford to, you know, hire a coach yet. Okay. That's why we hire the coach, because we're not making the money that we want to make. That's what we hire the coach for. So you get a credit card or you get a loan or you pull it out of your savings or your 401k, you do whatever you need to do in order to pull in that resource, because you're going to pull, like when I spent that first 24K, I made 500K that year. Do you think that 24K was worth it? But at the time that 24K felt like I was going to die because I had only ever made $400 a week up until then. So $24,000 was like years and years worth of work for me. Right? Like years and years how I could ever come up with that. That was like a full, like if every penny I ever, for the whole entire, I used to make $23,000 a year. So that was the craziest thing ever. But that's the kind of thing that will launch us to the next level. Does this make sense? Yes. This is good. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay. So that's my message for today. A whole lot of courage and not a lot of figuring things out is definitely the way to ease and joy. And yes, it feels like tension and pressure. And yes, you're going to strengthen underneath it. And you get to associate to that feeling differently. It's how you associate to the feeling. Nothing wrong or bad is happening. You're just growing. You're just getting stronger. And my call for you today is to trust whatever instincts you have. Calm down enough or excite yourself enough, whatever unlocks you, right? Just unlocks that creativity instead of being in contraction, like, but things are wrong and I have to do this and what if puts us in contraction, you can't hear jack squat and you have no creativity flowing. It's when we open up and we expand and it's like, okay, that's what I want. I have the courage to say what I really want, and I have the courage to say that this is what I know will help me get there, and then I have the courage to choose that thing, back it, and put myself there, and then I have the courage to trust the process while I'm there. That's the real fast-paced path. It's not what you would think it is. But when I look back, I'm like, nope, that's exactly what it was. I didn't spend any time trying to figure anything out. I just acted and backed myself and acted and backed myself. So what I've learned is that the most powerful version of ourselves, like when we're in trauma, when we're stuck in like basically the weakest part of us, right? The part of us that has all the effects of the stuff that we've gone through, she defends herself and she explains and she justifies and she looks back and she looks down and she looks to make sure everything's okay and she, questions like, oh, but I can't, and like, oh, what if something goes bad and blah, and like that's the weakest part of us. That's very human. It's a very human part of us. No judgment. It is what it is. But the most powerful, clear part of us, right? The wisest part of us, like the absolute deepest potential and wisdom that we have in our entire body, she's looking up. She's faced forward. She's moving forward, deciding, moving, right? And she's just continuously moving forward. Oh, I screwed up. Let me fix this, right? Like I had a program, the live program that I ran, and it was supposed to be a year long. And like 5 months in, it was like a weird energy in the program. I never had a program like that. And I canceled the program and I reached out to the girls and it was like, I was anxious and I was like, oh, like I feel like I made a mistake or I did something wrong. And I reached out to the people and like, okay, here's your options. What do you want? What makes you feel like you're loved and taken care of through this process? Bang, 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 done. They were all super excited, moving to the next thing, right? Instead of getting caught up in all the ways that I was bad and how I screwed up and whatever other things that us humans get caught up in, it's literally, this is what I want. This is how I choose to get there. This is what I'm doing, moving forward. And the fear will come up, the tension will hit, and you're just like, okay, I know that feeling. That's the feeling of growth. The fear that I might not make my money back doesn't mean that there's a reality I might not make my money back. The fear I might not make my money back is evidence that I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. That's why when my clients will say to me sometimes, right? They're like, well, Mandy, my client, like, I'm so sick of clients who say they can't afford my program. I'm like, but that's what everybody says. That's the go-to excuse in our culture is like, oh, I can't afford it because that's the out. Now I get out. I can say I can't afford it. Of course you can afford it. It's 2020. There's 7 million. I got online and did fundraisers to raise money for my coaching and my traveling to do the coaching, right? Like there's a million things we can do unless you've done all of that stuff and sold stuff and whatever, like, and most people don't even have to do anywhere near any of that. But even if you did, like, unless you've done all that, don't be telling me you can't afford it, right? It's never about the money. It's about the courage, and it's about the trusting your instincts. It's about the backing yourself, and it's about actually allowing yourself to have the resources that resonate with you, that your soul said, hell yes to. Like, hell yes, I want that, right? Like if Unresisted Life, let's just use that as an example. Why not? That's the current program I'm selling, which is mandyperry.com/unresistedlife, by the way. I should probably have put that in there a long time ago. Sorry. Okay. Like, let's say, for example, your soul is like, oh my God, hell yes, this is exactly what I want to learn. I want to get off this trap of trying to figure it out and using all my energy around this and feeling like I'm treading water and not getting where I want to go. I want rapid success with ease. Like this all resonates so much. Like I can see how I'm getting caught up in that. It makes sense that it's about the courage and the bravery and not the friggin' figuring it out energy. And your soul, like there's an instant thing. Your soul will be like, hell yes. Or there's not, right? Like, and you just tell yourself the truth. That's it. That's why, like, I don't convince anybody of anything. When people reach out to me in my PM, and if they say that they're, like, oh, I need more time. Okay, you need more time. There's no convincing or nothing because I know your soul knows. That's it. It's like, did you feel a hell yes to this? Like, oh, yes. Then you should do it. End of story. And if you didn't and you did whatever, then maybe you didn't. I don't know. That's up to you to decide, right? I hold you as able to be able to know your best move. But what I do is call people out on, well, I'm not sure if I could make the next payments, or I'm, what if I don't get my money back? Like, there's wealthy people that join my programs all the time, incredibly wealthy people, but maybe have a pattern or a story. Like, if I don't make my money back in this program, then I failed or I'm bad. And it's just a story about their identity, and it has nothing to do with the money, but they make it about about the money, right? There's this whole bunch of stuff going on. And all I do to support my clients is to remind them, but if you desired it, you get to have it. Desire comes from soul. Desire is the wisest part of us trying to lead us places. And all we have to do is have the courage to back it. We use our brain to back our soul because it's the wisest part of us leading us. But we get it all backwards and we're like, well, I'm going to figure it out in my head and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, your soul's like, please listen. I'm going to show you the shortcut. And so looking back, I'm really grateful that that's the way that I was I had already been building that with trying to take care of my kids and feed my kids and wanting to be there with my son. And I had already really built that muscle of courage and bravery, which is why I had such phenomenal rapid success out of the gates with no experience, which is just the craziest thing ever, right? That is why. And that's what we're doing in this program. So in this program, right, this is like practice for you right now. Unresisted. MandyPerry.com/unresisted. Okay, it's in there. So even right now, just having the courage to tell yourself the truth, right? Whatever you're going to navigate after, that's fine. Don't worry about step 2, 3, 4. Right now, it's just about, okay, I'm going to learn this process. I'm going to calm down. I'm hearing Mandy's energy and I'm going to tune into myself. Like, do I feel a hell yes? Is this resonating? Do I feel like a hell yes? This is what I want to do. Is it in the Diamond Mastermind with Mandy? Is there something else? Is there another brave action I'm being called to? But it's about telling the truth and really tuning into that energy and starting to build the courage muscle. Courage looks like telling the damn truth. It looks like getting a vision first, right? Like telling the truth about what you actually want, which is the first thing we're going to do. But you tell the truth, you get a clear vision about what you actually want, not like a dimmed down version, like the big, huge version of what you really want, because why not? Like, why wouldn't we skip to that? Why we gotta go? We don't gotta take steps. We can just, right? So we tell the real truth about what we really want. And then we tell the truth about what comes up for us to get there along the way. You tell the real truth about it without being like, oh, I don't want to admit that I want to be in Mandy's Diamond. I'm going to just use an example because I hear this a lot. I don't want to tell the truth about being in Mandy's Diamond Mastermind because then, like, if I have to believe that I can have anything I want and I want that, then I'm going to have to figure that out, and I don't want to figure that out. No, you don't have to figure it out. You just have to have courage. You just have to tell the truth and have a shit ton of courage. That's it. That's a big difference. And that is what I have consistently done in my entire life that has brought on. I mean, are you kidding? My life is so amazing. Like, my cleaners come and clean my house, and my daughter's hanging out with me, and we're cooking these banana egg pancakes, which, by the way, 2 eggs, 1 banana, smush it and cook it as a pancake. Amazing. That's amazing. I'm going for runs again. I have, dinner dates with friends coming up. My son's about to graduate and leave. I have dates with these incredible people. I'm having so much fun. I get to, a travel plan's coming up. I get to coach my one-on-one clients every single day, run these amazing programs, and learn all these incredible people out there. I mean, it's like a dream life. It's an absolute dream. It's insane. Like, what more could I possibly ask for? And that's my work. My work is to be like, what next level versions of everything would be so incredible, right? Like, yeah, you get to just continue down the path. And a lot of times my work with my clients will lead me to like, okay, so what we learned was you really suck at telling yourself what you want, because up until now you've been afraid to tell yourself what you really want because the feeling right after is really painful. That feeling that comes right after of, but I can't have that. And that feels really painful, so we don't want to do that. So we just avoid telling ourselves what we want because we have a story that we can't have it. But none of that was true. None of it. And all the shenanigans that go with it. I'm a bad person if I want it. I'm not supposed to want that. It's selfish to want it. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, the wisest part of you knows best. This is why we say the body always wins. If you let the body lead the way, if you let soul instincts and the hell yeses you feel in your body guide you, it will always work out. And sometimes that working out looks like, that doesn't feel like it worked out, except for what you just did was grow. I said to one of my clients the other day, can you love your clients big enough that you could be the space that they invest huge in and then don't show up, don't get the result, and they feel that burn and they finally unlock and go to that next level, which I've seen happen a couple times, right? Are you willing to be the space for that for your clients? Like, we all go through that. We all have times when we are all in and we make a promise or a commitment and then we don't follow through. It happens sometimes. Can you be willing to be that space for your clients? Because that's an awesome way for them to grow. And sometimes you're going to be that space, and you have to allow that to happen because we hold people as able. Most of the time, almost unanimously, when people show up in my programs, they show up really big and they get really amazing results. But every once in a while, there's going to be times when you just fall on your face, but you're going to learn from it. So what I'm saying is it's always working out for you, but sometimes it's you fell on your face and you got to learn this really incredible lesson. And in the Unresisted Life, I'm going to teach you guys how to take every lesson and squeeze every single little drop out of it. Every little drop out of it was something else that I realized I do really well. So when I fall on my face, I make it the greatest thing that ever happened, and you have total control over that, right? It's like my life plan to be in your Diamond Mastermind. Also, we're going to be normal friends that hang out by our pools. Yay! I do love you, Amy. Okay, so you can use this moment as practice. And what do you feel called to be really brave about? And what if you got to just release any crap in your life telling you that you have to figure it out and you have to be better and you have to fix yourself and you have to something else and you need to be prettier or skinnier or better or smarter or better spoken or have better graphics or whatever other crazy crap is going on, and you just dismiss all of that, like released, completely just dismissed and released, and you were like, this is what I want, eyes forward. That's my goal, and just start running, and just start running to your goal, and just start running to your goal. Release that person, release that thing that was said, release that fear that was there, and I'm just running, and I'm just running. I'm like, you can't catch me. You know that feeling where it's like head up and your lungs are big and your just feet are barely touching the pavement. If you're sprinting, I don't know if anybody here is a sprinter, but you just, that's what we're doing. That's the work right here, right? Yes. So much yes. I'm so glad I thought to explain it this way. And if it's possible ever, it's possible right now. Right now. So when I first invested, I had to do some crazy shit. I had to do fundraisers and I had to sell my bikes and I had to sell whatever. It's like there's a whole nother level of showing up in life. Sometimes we just get to pull it out of our savings account. Sometimes it's just part of our check. Sometimes we have to, if you're making $100,000 investment, sometimes you got to go and you got to hustle for a month and you got to create the thing. If you're investing in a $5 million house, right? Even the people ahead of me, it doesn't matter. You think when you have money, you start no, it's the same skill. It's like when you buy a $5 million house and you have to come up with a $500,000 payment, you still have to do the work to come up with, it never stops being about courage and bravery. It never stops about being, growing and expanding, because that's what makes us happy. We avoid the pressure and the tension, but that's where all the happiness is. That's where all the growth and the forward momentum and the expansions, that's where everything is. And it's about learning to stop resisting that. You feel me? So that's what the Unresisted Life is about. That's the energy of the program. It's literally just locking into what we want and running forward, and just how we're moving all the things that are getting there. And of course, you guys are going to get the how to everything. So those are just a bonus in there. You're just bonusing all the how to everything because I don't want you getting caught up on that, because that's not the freaking point. And I can just hand it to you very easily. It's no extra work for me. So you're getting all the how to everything in the Unresisted program too. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. And yes, 2 people messaged today. Yes, you get access, of course, to the Unresisted Life if you join the Diamond Mastermind right now. So if you're interested in joining, you get access to every single program that I run online. Everything. The $10,000 programs, the $16,000 programs, the $500 programs, all programs that I run online, you get access to. Plus you get the weekly one-on-one with me and Voxer access. So I love you guys very much. I hope this resonated with you guys. If you feel like any of your friends would be served by this message and really getting out of that rat race and remembering what it's about, feel free to tag them or share the video on your page. It's much appreciated if you do. I love you guys so much. I hope everybody's starting to get back to a new normal a little bit. We opened up here in Sarasota, so I'm so excited. I said this in the beginning, but I have dinner plans Thursday, actual dinner plans to go out of my house to a restaurant. I'm very excited about it. It feels like life is happening again. You feel me? Okay, I love you guys so much. I will see you when I see you. Have an amazing night.